today's class I will start with Unit 5, where Unit 5 has these topics. That is, the first one is the nervous system, second is the immune system, and then you also have a small topic on cell signaling. So today's class we will talk about this nervous system, a part of the nervous system. Okay. So why are we learning this nervous system and immune system? If you take in your living system, okay, in a living organism, this nervous system and immune system both work together to maintain homeostasis in the organism. A balanced environment in the organism. So if you take this nervous system along with another, that is endocrine system, it produces various molecules, that is, it secretes various factors like hormones, neurotransmitters, neuropeptides, growth factors. So it secretes various factors in response to the stimuli to maintain the homeostasis. So same way here, immune systems, they are producing some molecules like antibodies. They are actually defense mechanism. They produce various protein molecules, so fighting against the foreign particles and organisms entering into the system. So they fight against, which is foreign system which is entering into the body. So they fight against the foreign particles, and in turn they maintain the homeostasis of the organism. So these two systems are very important systems which are working to maintain the stable environment, an equilibrium environment inside the organism, that is this homeostasis. And this is possible because of process called as cell signaling, that is communication between the cells. So this is nervous system is able to sense what is the changes in the environment and act according to that. The same way immune systems are also able to sense the foreign particles which are entering. So that is because of cell signaling, that is cells communicate, tell that some changes is there in the environment. Some foreign particle has entered into our system. So there is a communication between the cells performing the various activities to bring about the homeostasis in the organism. So we are going to talk about these important systems in the living system. So starting with, we will learn about the nervous system. So in my session, I will be talking about what is this nervous system, that is giving an introduction about the nervous system and what is this nervous system made of. Okay, what it is made of. If you see, there are two major cell types. So they are this nervous neurons and the glial cells. So we will be talking about what are these cells and how do they. Here we were telling this nervous system major function is information. So it is a system where information is transferred inside the organism. So how is the information transferred? That is because of a process called as action potential. So we will be talking about this action potential. And later on a wider range, how this entire cells are arranged and how they are organized, how the nervous system is organized. So what are the parts of this nervous system? So how it is organized, we will see here as the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. So you will have a basic idea about what is this nervous system, how it is functioning. So that is the parts and the functioning of the nervous system we will know. And if there is a problem with the nervous system, what happens to the organism? So diseases of the nervous system we will know. And application part of it. So since you are computer science people, this will be more interesting. That is computer based. We are biomimicking. So here neural systems, that is artificial neural networks, are developed taking concepts from this nervous system. So we will have a small talk about this computer based neural networks also. Spelling is wrong here. So in today's class, what I will be talking is about the introduction, cells of the nervous system and action potential. So let us take our system, our daily activities. So you read your, that is you attend your class. So where you are getting information as your faculty is delivering some information to you and you're grasping the information. Okay, something you are, this is the stimuli. What is the outside stimuli is the information, the lecture which is being given to you. So your system is grasping, okay, your, and it is being transferred inside your system, how to process it. So you are grasping the information, you're taking in the information, you're learning here, and from your classes some information is given to you, and here you're trying to work out calculations, or you are trying to read or find out some calculations you are doing here, problem solving you are able to do. And further, you also go to your library, make references. At the end of the day, you are going for a play, you are going in, that is, you are involved into various sports activities, you gather up with your friends. So, for all these activities, okay, all these activities are done with the help of your nervous system, all your daily activities. And not only that, all your emotions, you're angry or you're very happy or you're brooding something, you're thinking. So all these actions again are carried out with the help of these, what is this? Nerve. It is because of the function of the nervous system. And all these senses, you touch, you smell, you taste, hear, sight. So all your activities are based on this functioning of the nervous system. So what is this doing? What is this nervous system on a whole? You are seeing, you are hearing, you are working. All this is overall what it is your system is trying to do is it is trying to adapt yourself to the environment. So here the basic feature of this is ability. It is all these actions are performed to make the organism able to detect the internal. It is not the stimuli only from the external environment, but also from the internal environment, that is inside your body. So it is to detect the changes in the internal and the external environment and respond according to that. So the overall function here is to detect the changes which is happening. Changes here is the stimuli which is happening inside your body or from your external environment. So you have to properly detect it. Your system has to properly detect it, and it has to be processed, and appropriate correct responses has to be sent back. So all these activities are done with the help of the nervous system. So stimuli here, stimuli are the changes. So your body is responding to the changes to adapt to it. So the changes can be from the external environment. Like when it is raining, what you do? You take an umbrella or you wear your raincoat. So that response. So stimuli is the rain. Your system senses here, your skin, your eyes, they sense it here, and it is processed in the brain. What type of response? So immediately your muscles, your eyes, what they do, your hand muscles go take an umbrella or take your what is that, raincoat, and it wears. Okay, so the response is given, is sent, is being delivered here. So stimuli, the changes can be from the external environment or from the internal environment, that is pumping of heart, your digestion. You eat your food, it is automatically being digested, isn't it? Same way when there is a heat, when there is a change, that is you are having a fever, so your body is trying to adapt to it. So changes can be from the external environment or from the internal environment. So overall thing we told, it is the information is that is responding to the external environment. So how is it done by this nervous system? So if you see this nervous system, a picture given here, you can see in the organism, in the individual, you have lot of wires working, running here throughout the body, connecting from the brain, head to toe. So they are the information processing, and that is receiving, processing and sending system. So what are they, we will see. So nervous system, it is a network. It is not just a single organism. So it's organ or a tissue. So it is a network, just like your wires which is running between your computers. The same way inside your system, it is a network of nerve cells. So again, this nervous system, it is made of cells here, and here it is a network of these cells. Where are these cells present? Present in the brain, in the spinal cord, and these nerves are against cells which are long fibers like. Okay, so it is a network of all these nerves. So nervous system, it is a network of the cells which is present in the brain, spinal cord and in the nerves. So how they function is, it is because of a coordination. Nerve coordination enables an organism to respond to the external and to the internal environment. So if you see the overall functioning of the nervous system, you can put it into three categories. One is the sensory system, that is which senses the changes. So sensory system like your vision, your eyes, cells in the eyes, they see. Okay, so vision, hearing, ears, smell, taste, touch, which is present in the nerve endings. So all these are the sensory receptors. So they sense the changes in the environment, which is present in the sense organs. So you can see here a stimulus. For example, this individual, he is having in the sensory organs which is present in the skin cells. They detect some changes in the environment. So this is being transferred here, transferred to the, what is that, brain, the processing center. So the information which is received from the sensory system is being processed here by the brain, and it sends the appropriate output signals. So an effect is brought about by the effector system, which is usually a muscle or inside the organism, that is a gland, endocrine gland, which will be secreting specific proteins or chemicals to bring about this specific effect. So the function you can broadly categorize as sensory, integrating center and effector system. So if you take the nervous system, I told you here it is the parts of the nervous system. So what it is made of, first of all, I will tell you. So it has the brain, spinal cord and the nerves. These fibers which is running across the system, they are the nerves. So they are again here, if you take a nerve, one single nerve, it is a bundle of these nerve cells. Okay, brain, if you take a cross section of this, it is made up of cells. Again, if you take these fibers, fibers, that is the nerve fibers, it is a bundle of these nerve cells. So we are talking about all this nervous system, it is made up of cells. So is it one single cell or many cells? So how many cells are there? If you take one major type of cell, that is the neurons. Okay, say they are the major cells which is making up, which this nervous cell is made of. And there are also other type of cells which are called as this glial cells, which act as a support for these neurons. In what way they support is, the major information transformation is by the neurons, but these glial cells, they just support, they give a support, or they are providing nutrients or some structural support to the neurons. So two types of cells, one is this neurons and the other type of cells are these glial cells. Yes. So the major type of cells in the nervous system are these nerve cells, or they are also called as the neurons. They do this function of getting the stimuli, receiving the stimuli and transmitting the action potential, that is the signals. There are other type of cells, that is the neuroglial cells or glial cells, which support and protect the neurons. So we will start learning about what is this neuron, that is the major type of cell, nerve cell. So they are the fundamental units, they are the building blocks of this nervous system. Just like any other tissue or organ here, your brain, your nervous system is also made up of these cells, that is the neurons. But if you see the structure of it, it is very irregular. If you take other cell types, you can take, it is a columnar shaped or it is a cuboidal shape. So you circular. spherical like that. But here if you see this nerve cells, they are highly irregular in shape, and it is a very complex shape structure also. But it is a cell, so it is going to have a boundary here inside which you will, and it is a eukaryotic cell, so it will be having a nucleus and other organelles are going to be present in it. So if you take a part of this neuron or the nerve cell, so the different, this picture shown here is a illustration of a neuron. So if you take the parts of the neuron, the major parts here, it is categorized into 4 regions. One is the cell body. So this is the cell body. So here it has, that is a cell which is having an outer covering, and inside the cell it has the nucleus and other organelles are present inside the cell. So here if you see the structure, the outer membrane, you can see it is branched. It is not a smooth surface, but it is a branched structure. So these branches, they are called as the dendrites. And you can see here, out of these branch structure, one structure is a very long extended arm. So the outer covering, it's not a smooth surface, but it is branched structures are found on the surface, that is the outer membrane extends as branched structures which is called as the dendrites, and one branch is a very long branch that is called as the axon. Okay, so this axon, the end of this axon, it is called as the terminal, nerve terminal. So this is a typical structure of a nerve cell, one nerve cell or the neuron. So it has a cell body and cell body. The branched structures, short branches. These are short branches present on the surface of the cell. And you have a long branch, that is the axon. And the nerve term, and this long branch, that is the axon, ends with the ends are called as the nerve ends or synaptical terminals. So these are the 4 major regions of the neuron. So if you see this cell body, that is the first part of the, that is the major part of the neuron, the cell body, which is also called as the soma. If you see in this cell, it is the enlarged, it is the largest portion of the cell. So it is similar to all other cells, that is it contains an outer membrane, it has a nucleus and all the other organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, and you have this smooth endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, then you have the lysosome. So all the organelles are present in the cell body. So what does it do is, it receives the information from the dendrites, it coordinates all the information and sends the signal. So coordination of the information is done in this cell body. The next part of the cell, neuron, is, I told you, the dendrites, that is a short branches protruding from the cell membrane, that is the dendrites. So what is their role here? So these dendrites, they are the small cytoplasmic projections. So it is not something which is attached to the cell, but they are projections from the cell. That is why it is called as small cytoplasmic projections that extend from the neuron. What do they do is, so you can see here in this cell, this is one presynaptic cell, and its axon is binding to another, that is, this is the next cell which is called the postsynaptic cell. So this nerve ending is attached to a branch structure, that is this dendrite. So this dendrites receive the information from the presynaptic cell. So they are receivers of the information from the presynaptic cells, and they carry it to the neurons where the information is integrated. And from out of these dendrites, one is a long cytoplasmic projection that extends from the cell body. So this long projection, it is called as the axon. So the starting point of this axon is called as the axon hillock. Okay, so the starting point of the axon, it is called as the axon hillock. And I told you the information is passed through this axon, this long arm, which is the axon. So information is passed as an as an impulse. Okay. So here, if you take this long arm, it is insulated just like your wire, which is carrying the electrons. The same way here, these axons are also insulated by a layer of sheets called as this myelin sheet. So it is covered by a sheet which is called as the myelin sheet. It acts as the insulating layer. And the ends of these axons, they are called as the nerve endings or nerve terminals. So upon the that is the nerve impulse in when it reaches the end of this nerve cell, it will be induced to produce signaling molecules like neurotransmitters. So they, that is chemical signals, chemicals are produced, which in turn will go and activate the next cell. So the information from one cell is passed on to the next cell. So here if you take, it is an electrical, how the information from one cell, so the information here is as electrical impulse, and at the end it is changed into a chemical signal. So the nerve endings secrete this chemical signal, and the nerve endings connect to the neighboring neurons and transfer the information to them. You have another part which we call the synapses. So this is the synapses, the nerve ending. So you can see a small gap actually between the presynaptic cell and the postsynaptic cell. So here this is called as the synaptic cleft, where that is the site, actually synapses is the site of contact between the presynaptic cell and the postsynaptic cell. Actually it is like a cleft here. And here how many synapses are there? It can be a single synapses, so few synapses can be there. So you can see here some few are there, one, but there can be also many, what you see in the brain, cerebellum region of the brain. So many synapses can also be there. So either a few or many can be found in the nerve cells. So synapses, they are the nerve endings. And yes, I was talking about this cells, synaptic cells, if you tell. We have these terms called as presynaptic cells and postsynaptic cells. So let us take these two cells here, cell 1 and 2 in the nervous system. So the first cell, it receives a signal here through this dendrite. The information is passed here. So the cell body will process it, whether it is a strong signal, whether it has to be processed further, it will be sent to the next cell or not. It is processed here in the cell body. Once it is above a threshold level, then the impulse passes through the axons and it is delivered at the synaptic terminal, synapses here. So here the cell which receives in the flow, the cell which is in the upstream, it is called as the presynaptic cell. The cell which is in the downstream, it is called as the postsynaptic cell. So the next to it, if you see here, this ending will again bind to the dendrite of the other cell. So this becomes a presynaptic, the next cell becomes the postsynaptic. So upstream cell is the presynaptic cell and the downstream cells are the postsynaptic cells. And here I told you information is passed here at the nerve terminals. How the information from one cell to another is passed on is, there are chemicals which are being secreted by the nerve terminals, that is this neurotransmitters, which induce changes in the postsynaptic cells. So what are these neurotransmitters? That is the chemicals synthesized here. It is acetylcholine, which can be, okay. So these are some of the neurotransmitters. Based on the cell type, it differs. So here some of the neurotransmitters secreted are acetylcholine, dopamine, norepinephrine. Amino acids are also acting as um, neurotransmitters, and nitric oxide and carbon monoxide also. So nerve cells, if you say here nerve cells are their type of nerve cells. I told you major type of cells are these nerve cells. Are there different type of nerve cells means? See the difference, the same. If you see structural components, it is same. The basic components of the neurons are all same. So the basic unit is going to be same, whether it is going to be present in brain or spinal cord, or whether it is in the nerve cells, nerves. I told you the fibers where the nerve cells are bundled up. So whether it is in a brain or spinal cord or nerve, the major components are going to be same. That is, it is going to have the soma or the cell body. It is going to have the dendrites. It's going to have the axon, which is and this terminus. So the components are going to be same. So what is the difference we see is based on the shape of it, how it is present. Okay, and where it is functioning, whether it is functioning in the brain or in the spinal cord. So there is the difference is there. So you can see here in olfactory bulbs, you can see this the oral the nerve cells are having a single axon. But here in this case, you can have a cylindrical arrangement of cells. So in you can have biconical arrangements. Okay, so in the case of brain, cerebral cortex, you have an arrangement. So here it is, yeah, cerebral cortex. Again, you have a pyramidal neuron. So the shape and the size only will differ. So based on the function, how it is differing, I told you major function here in the nervous system is the sensory, which receives the the stimuli. Second is the integration center, where the brain, where it is processing, okay, where the processing of the information takes place. And the third region is where the effect, okay, it is processed and the effect is being sent. So you have, these are the major roles played by the nervous system. So it senses, process and sends the effect, that is the effect. So the nerve cells, they differ again here based on their function. If they are doing a sensory role, then they are called as the sensory neurons. That is, if they are present in the sensory system receiving the signals, then they are called as sensory neurons. If they are present in the brain involved in processing, then they are called as interneurons. And if they are present in the motor system, that is the effector system, these neurons are called as motor neurons. Okay, and here if you see here, this is a sensory neuron having a long dendron. Okay, long, that is a long dendron which is bringing impulse towards the cell, and a single axon which carries the impulse. So interneurons, if you see here, the structurally it is a little bit different. That is, they have short fibers. Here in sensory, it has to carry information from a long distance. So here you have long dendrons, but in the case of interneurons, it has short fibers. The same way motor neurons are also have to travel for a long distance. So here you have fine dendrites which bring impulse towards the cell body. And here they have single axons which carry the impulse from the cell body. So here the effector can be a muscle which is present in your hands or legs, or it can be any glands. So that is going to synthesize the hormones or growth factors.